Boom, load game, let's go. Are you sure you're on?
Well, I'm
Prove
waiting
it.
for this thing. Oh, there's
Prove it.
this.
Prove you're watching.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Prove it.
Prove it. What does it have on the screen? What does that have on the screen, Jackson?
Ooh, I'm watching the stream because I can
Oh,
hear you.
that proves it. Mute will mute it. Aye. Butler awoke to find himself in the ship's infirmary. According to the clock on the wall, the time was just past 7. That meant he'd been here at least 5 hours, although he didn't remember a second of it. He mumbled to himself just after watching, but it was enough to stir the nurse nearby. She turned around in her spinning chair, as expected, saw the detective sitting upright. Oh, you're awake. That was faster than I expected. I've had worse happen to me. I'm pretty sure it's not the nurse that's saying that, but okay. Oh, he's doing the weird laugh again. It's past dinner time after all. I'll order some food to be delivered here. Please wait. It's backwards. It says the nurse saying what... It says the nurse is saying what Butler's saying, and it says what Butler is saying what the nurse is saying, if that makes any sense.
Nope, makes no sense at all.
So for Butler's dialogue, it says the nurse is saying it, and for the nurse's dialogue, it says Butler's saying it.
Now, why would it do that?
Because this is a top quality game. Made very well. If you couldn't tell. Right? How long was I out for? 5 hours? Something like that, yes. The nurse began to speak into the phone, ordering a quick meal for her patient. Butler sat back and silently watched, thinking to himself. Why was his head hurting so much? Didn't something happen earlier today? That's right. During a tour of the ship's basement, he was knocked out. The lights went off for just a few moments, but it was long enough for someone to attack him. So this is basically what's going on for, whatchamacallit. This is after he gets, attacked, but before they find their dad dead. Had it really been a work of the ghosts haunting the basement, or was it something who had a reason to go after him? He had to investigate this further. But this throbbing pain wasn't foreign to Butler. While he could recall the events of today quite easily, anything that happened before a certain time simply couldn't be recalled. In other words, it was easy for Butler to forget the past. That's a skill many people have longed for, their lives tainted with bad memories they'd rather forget completely. Do you wish you could forget anything?
Why would I want to do that?
I don't know, if you ever get stabbed, you could just forget it. And then one day you just look down and realize you have a knife in your stomach. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's why my stomach's been hurting. It'd be kind of funny. However, this detective, as a way to remember his own name, resorted to the most classic of all mystery tropes. Surely he had so many books that he'd never forget the most likely suspect of a crime. That was the secret, at least one of many. It was only secret he could remember, so it was the only secret. He thinks he's the prime suspect of everything? Right, is that what he's saying? Well, how long till the food gets here? I'm sorry, but it seems there's an emergency. I need to take care of. It should be here in half an hour. Don't go anywhere. Emergency? What happened? I don't want you to panic, however. I need to be at the scene right away. The nurse then ran off in a hurry, leaving Butler inside the room alone. He's gonna leave. Butler stood up from his seat. He retrieved his coat and hat from the coat rack and put them both back on. Half an hour. I'd rather watch the place myself, but this emergency has me interested. Deciding he has better uses of his time than simply waiting around, Butler left the room and attempted to follow the nurse. And that's when he heard the screams coming from the elevator. Do you hear screams from the elevator?
Yep.
Can you imitate them for me?
Nope.
Why not?
Now,
Please?
why would I want to do that?
Please?
No.
Please? I see, so that's what happened to you. Yep. Now that you've told me your side of the story, I guess we're all caught up. Butler and Cecilia stayed with me out in the hall. Everyone else had returned to their rooms by now, including Captain Jack. Although they might be complacent waiting around for the ship to dock and the police to solve the crime, I'm not so patient, and Detective Butler can be more excited to solve a real mystery. Sure you're ready? The truth we uncovered might not be so pleasant. Yeah, I'm ready. There's no other choice. Cecilia, the door. Right, here it goes. The door's magnetic lock releases itself after Cecilia swipes her card key. This is it. Our research for the truth begins here. Butler leads the way, Cecilia and myself following close behind. He stands in the center of the room, between the two beds, looking in all directions. First, I'll do a quick search of this guest room. Gotta check for suspicious things lying around, or perhaps a way to sneak the key into the room from the outside. Tell me, where'd you actually find the key in here? Blythe found it in the middle of that bed. I point to the one my father slept in, on the left side of the room. So the key wasn't slipped in through the door. It involved some string trick. You don't remember seeing any strings up in your room, do you? No, there wasn't any, so I guess the probability of the key being slipped under the door is ruled out. But there are some other places it could slip through, yeah? Such as the ceiling. Even a single small hole would be enough. While cleaning today, I personally checked the walls, floor, and ceiling of each room thoroughly and found nothing unusual about those places. That is, unless the culprit made the hole themselves. They could have been standing right above this room, drilled a hole in the floor, and dropped the key down the hole. Would the culprit really go that far? I mean, bringing a power drill to a cruise ship? Would you bring a power drill on a cruise?
Of course.
Well, that would be a safety hazard and would be confiscated on site. Then tell me, are there any power drills already hidden on this ship? Perhaps there are one in the employee room. I think we might be overthinking this. I mean, let's just look up at the ceiling. The three of us looked up at the ceiling, and the truth becomes clear. There isn't a single hole up there. Well, in that case, no one could have stolen Cecilia's key to use the main door, which only leaves the balcony. Ooh, the balcony. Cecilia opens the balcony door and steps out of the room. She points across to one of the neighboring balconies. You think the culprit jumped across this gap? I'm not sure how anyone could jump across it. It's not humanly possible. The culprit just needs some rope. Then they can swing across using the rope as a grappling hook. Even I can't believe something like that. They'd have to be a ninja or something. Is there not an easier way? An easier way? See those lifeboats hanging up there? The culprit lowered themselves down onto one and used that to enter the balcony. The lifeboat? How would they get back up there once they finished? Don't know, but I don't have to explain because it's possible. Are you really suggesting the culprit would go to this much trouble just to place a key in my room? And even if it's true, there's one other problem. My balcony door was locked. Not good. But if someone left it open beforehand, you mean me or my father? Doesn't matter who. If someone happened to leave the door open, either by accident or on purpose, no, then the culprit would have to know in advance the door was open. Random theories aren't getting us anywhere. I can't see how we're solving anything at this rate. Butler walks back into the room, both of us following. I shut the lock in the balcony door on my way inside. We're eliminating some possibilities, one by one. Now to really make sure we're covered all our bases, let's check the bathroom and closet too. Is there anything in the bathroom, Jackson? Jackson?
I don't know, why don't you tell me?
Well, the bathroom looks exactly as it did after he took a shower this morning, and the culprit probably didn't enter that room. There's nothing interesting in the closet either, just my father's clothes. So in other words, we haven't found a single clue in this whole room. The good news is that we've eliminated a lot of possibilities. I don't think the room was in any ways damaged, nor was the key slipped in through the outside. Lastly, the balcony door wasn't used. That's a lot of things we know didn't happen. We're still a bit short on things we know that did happen. What do we do now? Knock, knock, knock. Oh, is room service here already? Are they here already, Jackson?
Sure.
You freaking... Gosh dang it. Guess we should take a break to eat. I can't think on an empty stomach. You ordered room service? When did you have time to do that? You know, when I was lying on the hospital bed, also at dinner, right? I haven't eaten anything since lunch. Butler opens the door. Can you pronounce that word for me?
Nope.
Revealing a large serving cart decorated with foods and drinks. Behind it stands. I don't care. Behind it stands the old chef Donald Ackerley. Ah, hello there. You three surprised to see me? Hey Donald, what are you doing bringing food here all by yourself? I saw the order was for Gilligan's room and thought I'd paid a visit to Galliano. Yeah, I did look at that. Galliano. Don't just. Okay. Butler takes a piece of chicken from the plate on the serving cart and begins to munch on it. Is that true? You shouldn't joke about things like this. Tell me it's not true, Gilligan. I don't want to believe it either, but that's what really happened. Slow down, old man. The food just got here. I'll give you a rundown on the murder in a bit. Bon appetit. That's French. It's the same meal as that one dinner. You know,
Oh, wow.
just look at that chicken.
Oh, boy.
Butler starts grabbing food off the serving cart, although the rest of us are too quick to do the same. It's as if the murder hasn't even fazed him. Doesn't that look delicious? He had mentioned before that the only reason he's taking on this taste is because it interests him. He even compared it to a game. Is that all he really wants? Well, I guess I shouldn't be complaining. There's no way I could solve a closed-room murder like this on my own. I'm sorry to hear what happened. Is there anything I can do to assist the investigation? Please do tell me. By the way, Cecilia, you dropped this early. I've been meaning to get back to you. Donald takes out from his pocket a keyring. Oh no, that's Jack's keyring, isn't it? Where did I lose it? Wait a minute. So you lost his keyring after all? I saw it fall out of your pocket as you were leaving the laundry room around 3 today. You ran so quickly, I couldn't catch up to you. And it completely slipped my mind when calling you earlier, so you can have it back now. Now that's interesting. So Cecilia had the keyring from 2 to 3 p.m. and Donald had the keyring up until right now. Donald, do you recall seeing the elevator key in that ring when you found it? Elevator key? I only saw the usual ones. No more keys than there normally should be. I mean, I hadn't taken any keys off the ring, so it must have been there when he found it. You two aren't making sense anymore. Then where did the key go? Alright, so here we go. We know Jack initially had the elevator key on his own key ring, right?
Okay.
And later that night at 2 a.m., Cecilia went to the captain's room. She was scolded and Jack gave her his keyring as a replacement, elevator key included. At 3 p.m., Cecilia accidentally drops the keyring and Donald picks it up immediately afterwards, right?
Okay.
She's confident she didn't lose the elevator key while she was cleaning too. But according to Donald, he never saw the elevator key on the ring. Someone has to be lying here, but I don't want to suspect either one of these two. Cecil and Donald both contradict each other. One of them might be lying to frame the other. And in this kind of situation where losing that key is equivalent to murder, anyone would do the same. It was Donald. Is there anything else we can do? I mean, we searched all the rooms, and there isn't anything too conclusive. And from what these two are saying, this story is even. is making even less sense. Well, I wouldn't try to worry too much about it. Once we reach land and the police arrive, they'll take a look at the surveillance video and solve the crime themselves. Wait a sec. Yes, of course, that's it, the surveillance tapes. That's right. Completely slipped my mind. But we could put an end to all the conclusion by watching the security video. It's all kept in the captain's room. Oh, did I let one of Jack's secrets slip out? Oh ho ho ho. Good work, old man. Lead the way. You shouldn't call people old man. Jackson, can I call you old man?
No,
Why not?
because I'm younger than you.
Frick, you're right. You bring up a good point.
Yep.
Modern technology has made solving crimes easier. DNA tracing, fingerprinting, surveillance cameras, all of these made available as public knowledge on internet sites and television shows. It might be better for society that we can instantly catch criminals on CCTV screens the moment a crime takes place, but it makes for more boring detective fiction. For that reason, I can see why many people would rather read books taking place in the early 20th century before such technology was invented. Our world has made detective fiction obsolete. Ooh, got another achievement. Up the locked room. Chapter 7. Okay, we'll do another one. That one was short. 16 minutes. No one's watching. This is depressing,
I'm
Jackson. You're playing a game.
Yeah, and somehow winning.
Are you doing ranked?
No,
Okay. The captain's room is located on the 6th deck.
but
So
I mean,
in order to get there, one must first climb the stairs to the outside. Fortunately for us, there isn't any rain, but the dark clouds are still ominously looming above. Gilligan, I'm sorry about your father if it weren't for that darn key. It's not your fault, Donald. You could have known that someone might have used it to kill. Your father was a good man, Gilligan, and it was a darn shame he's gone. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I've heard from you that you two were good friends, so I believe you. Ah yes, the chain I worked at was an affiliate of his company, so whenever he had to fly out somewhere, he'd strike a deal with us and get some free food. That stupid company, the whole reason we even went on this cruise. If not for that, then he'd still be alive. Please try not to think too much about it, that's what Butler is for. Yeah, the video won't lie to us, but even if he solves it... ... question mark. I'm sorry, I'm regretting a lot of things I said to my father. It's too late to take anything back, though. Nonsense. Wherever he is now, Galvano must be watching. Don't be afraid of the future. Are we there yet? Up these stairs. The room's a bit bigger than usual, and with all of the remodeling done, moving the room to an upper level was necessary. The lower level is outdated, and I'd rather not destroy my grandfather's room. A 7th floor, or just that one room? Only that room. Technically you could call it a 7th floor, but there's no really point without any other rooms. Whatever, let's just get this show on the road. One by one we climb up the stairs. At the top, Donald takes out his personal keyring and unlocks the door. What if Jack's in there? The moment the four of us enter the room, we see Captain Jack sit up out of his chair. Apparently he hasn't been expecting us. What the? Who let all of you in here? I brought them here so they can review the security cameras. You did have them turned on, didn't you? Of course I did, but isn't that a job for the police to handle? Already forgot? I'm a journalist. I want access to all of the information I can get. Please, what happens if another person dies because we are too easygoing? I don't want to take that chance. The boy's got a point. You'll help him out, won't you, Jack? Very well then. Over here. Who is it, Jackson? Oh wait, you said it was that one guy, didn't you?
Yeah.
Inside is, as expected, quite large. It looks like his room is actually split into two other smaller ones. The doors are both open, and from what I can see inside, there are merely his own bedroom and bathroom. Most notably, the room contains a control deck. A control deck? Oh boy. Its keyboard and monitors taking up half the room space. Surrounding the desk are two glass windows, from which the 6th deck is visible. Jack walks over the control desk, pressing only a few among hundreds of buttons. I can see various areas displayed on each of the screens in front of me. Yawn, yawn, yawn. There's even a camera placed in this room watching us. Top-notch security right here. There we go. This is the ship's security system. As you can see, there are cameras placed in every room on every deck, with the exception of the guest rooms. It would be an invasion of privacy otherwise, conflicting with state laws. Gotcha. So let's see what happened in the elevator. The elevator doesn't have a camera. It was made in 1962. I see. I guess we need to look at the camera in the hallway. That might be a good start, but what time? Why not just look at their door? How inconvenient. Just check everything. If you're just going to complain, we can stop playing detective right now. Elevators have multiple doors, so even if we checked one hallway, we would still have to check the others. But we don't have any place to start. There has to be a way. Maybe we should focus on my room instead. That's what I said. When a card key is swiped through a guest room, a timestamp is recorded. I could check those instances if you prefer. That's quite helpful info you've been withholding, Captain Jack. Yes, do that. Oh. Jack presses a few more buttons. This screen changed to display a list of times. So 1:55, 7:10, 7:30, and 8:20. Unfortunately, the security system won't tell us when the person leaves the room. It seems that once Alvano left his room that morning, he never went back. I recognize those last 3 timestamps. Once to enter the room, when we found the elevator key. Once when I went back inside on my own. The last one is when you carried out your investigation. So aside from the last 3, there's one mystery timestamp at 2 p.m. That would have been me. Jack, rewind that video to the first timestamp. Let's play it out. And Cecilia, explain what you were doing in the room. I want every detail. Cecilia sets her cleaning trolley a few doors down. She takes out her master keycard and locks the door to my room. After about 10 minutes of nothing happening, the camera shows me wandering over to my room, only to find it locked. I check my pockets and decide to head out to find my father. 5 more minutes later, Cecilia comes back out of the room. She takes out the trolley away and the door closes shut. Right, it's part of our job to clean all the passengers' cabins at our assigned deck. So around this time, I made it to room 503. I remembered the last time I had my keyring was in Gilligan's room. I probably left it inside by accident, so this time I tried something different. I was very careful when cleaning. First, the main bedroom, then the bathroom, then the balcony, but the whole time I knew where the keyring was. It stayed in my pocket the whole time. After leaving each room, I made sure to check. I see, so unless you're lying, you had the keys on you the whole time. Right, and I'm not lying. Sure. And after you cleaned all the rooms, where'd you go next? Once I finished cleaning each room, I took the trolley to the laundry room downstairs. That must have been when Donald saw me lose the keyring, but I didn't notice him at the time. The culprit stealthily removed only the elevator key from the keyring. Why not just take the whole thing? It doesn't really add up. Although it's possible, I don't remember the culprit taking the keys though. I had them in my pocket the whole time, I'm sure. The simplest explanation is Cecilia placed the key herself. She had the perfect opportunity when cleaning the room. No way, I'm not lying. I didn't lose anything this time. I'm telling you. Then why didn't I see that key? I know I'm getting old, but my vision is still 20/20. You have 20/20 vision?
Sure.
Oh my gosh. You just can't answer sure to everything.
Sure I can.
Gosh dang it, Jackson. But Cecilla's testimony tells us nothing new, only adding more questions. Regardless, it seems we made some good progress. Let's review everything we've learned. Last night, Cecilia goes to the captain room to tell Jack she needs a replacement set. He gives her his own key ring. Next day, she walks around to each room on the 5th deck to clean them. She keeps a set of keys in her pocket to prevent accidentally losing them inside the rooms. Then, when she finishes cleaning, she takes the trolley away to the laundry room on the 1st deck. Donald sees her accidentally drop the key ring, but is unable to catch up to her in time. So he holds the key ring up until now. He claims he only saw the usual number of keys on the ring, meaning the elevator key was never on it. Right, Jackson?
Sure.
If you answer sure to my next question, I'm gonna do something.
Do what?
I don't know. Even if Cecilla's card key had been stolen, it was only used once on the door, and the video proves that Cecilia left the room. The door closed shut, so this closed room is locked even tighter than before. This isn't good. Nothing to go on anymore. Be right back. I need some water. The waters. So are we stuck now? Are there any clues that can tell us what happened next? Okay, Jackson, what happened? Tell me exactly what happened.
I wasn't paying attention. So...
No, what you think happened. Like, how did he die?
I don't know. You stabbed.
He just died.
Yeah.
Heart attack?
No, it happens.
And then his chest exploded.
Yeah.
So
that
let's
happens sometimes.
It's the old-fashioned way. What is the old-fashioned way?
Those things just happen.
Yeah. And the keys, those just,
disappeared. No, they get lost all the time.
yeah, they teleported. Is that everyone should be treated as a suspect, and I follow the rule all the way through. I'll need alibis from all of you, and I'll need to go visit the 3 company members and search their rooms for clues. Let's go. Oh! Who do we want to interrogate, Jackson?
Everybody.
Well, there's 6 options. Which one?
The third one.
Her? Blythe?
Sure.
The one with the refight?
Sure, why not?
I actually got to do something! Heck yeah.
You know, I should really be paying attention to what I'm doing.
I
not negative
felt
today.
sick this morning, so I stayed in my bed until around 10 a.m. Remained there until about 12:30, at which point I went to the dining hall to eat lunch. I happened to meet Howard and Eliza as they left the dining hall. I told him about the ghost tour, and Howard was up for the idea. That and some extra food. Eliza refused my offer. After the ghost tour, I went to the bar where I saw Eliza. Gilligan also came to the bar, and we talked for about an hour. The 3 of us eventually split up, and I stayed in my room until 6. Alright, who's next?
Number 4.
Captain Jack. I woke up at 6 a.m., remaining in my room until 12 noon. That's when I began to prepare for the first ghost tour of the day around 1 p.m. I bumped into Gilligan and Butler, whom I invited to join. Butler fell due to an accident, and so my men took him to the infirmary. I then returned to the captain's room until it was time for another tour. At 2, I continued to give tours of the engine periodically throughout the day. Finally, around 5, I arrived at the dining hall to prepare for the banquet. I wanted to make sure the ship's maiden voyage was memorable, and I had everything set up. But just after 7, I received a call from Cicella, and it was then I arrived at the crime scene. Who's next, Jackson?
Number 1.
Who you think the murderer is? Who gave him the heart attack?
No, I just...
Your story doesn't seem to line up. His
Go on.
best... So let me get this straight. You think his childhood best friend...
Yep.
They were like, oh, let's go in this elevator. And then... how did he give him the heart attack?
I don't know. Actually, let's find out how.
Okay, he put on a really scary mask. And it made him have a heart attack and it exploded. And then he was like, later, I thought I was just gonna scare him. And then, he has a teleportation device. So he teleported the keys.
Yes. Now you did it.
That's your story?
Yep.
Jackson, you need to make a murder game. No one should figure it out.
That's the point.
Alright, let's read his alibi. I woke up at 9 a.m. I went to the dining hall for breakfast, then decided to walk around the ship. There's really a lot of stuff you can do here. I ate lunch with Eliza at the dining hall around noon. On our way out, we bumped into Blythe. She told us about the ghost tour, so I thought it would be fun to go see. Eliza, not so much. After the ghost tour, the two of us split up. I went outside to the sun deck, and Gilligan talked to me around 2. An hour later, the weather was turning bad, so I returned to my room. I remained there until 6. Okay, there's 2, 5, and 6 left.
5.
Donald! I woke up around 7 a.m. After that, I went straight to the dining hall. I began serving breakfast. I continued working there until I suffered quite a burn. I went to the infirmary around 1. As I was preparing for dinner around 3, I saw Cicella lose Jack's keys ring on the first deck. I couldn't catch up. She lost it in the laundry room, though. His stories aren't straight. He's the murderer. I couldn't catch up to her in time, so I picked it up with the intent to give it back to her later. I continued preparations from the storage room until 4, then I worked in the dining hall and kitchen from 4 onward. When Butler ordered room service for Gilligan's room, I thought I would pay them a visit. Alright, 2 and 6. 2 or 6?
6.
Cicilla. I think I got up at 7. I cleaned out as many rooms as I could early this morning. I went to work at the bar until Butler and Gilligan showed up around 1 p.m. After they left, I decided to make my second round of cleaning. I finished cleaning each room by 2:30. I took the trolley down to the laundry room, and around 3 I returned to working the bar. Nothing much happened there. Donald called me on his walkie-talkie around 7. I came to the dining hall, and as a group we discovered Mr. Golder's... Wait, what? That didn't make any sense, but okay. Alright, Eliza's last. Well, I got up around 9:30. At 12, I ate lunch with Howard, but I thought it was odd that Gallivanto hadn't shown up. I tried calling Gallivanto, but there was no service out here. Seriously? Yeah, seriously, how could you not have service in the middle of the ocean?
Wow.
Like, what the heck?
I expected better from that. Sheesh.
Anyway, we saw Blythe as we were leaving, but I didn't want to get involved with her. I returned to my room hoping Dalavano would show up, but he never did. At about 2 p.m. I decided to go to the bar and see if Dalavano was there. Instead I found Blythe, and soon Gilligan showed up. After that, I remained in my room from 4 until 6. Okay, we interrogated everyone. At the end of Butler's interrogation session, the lights in the captain's room go out. This certainly isn't the first time, but I shouldn't have to worry after all. The lights always come back on, right? Right, Jackson?
No. No.
No? Alright, let's look at our clues. Ah, yes, clues.
Someone else is gonna die.
Clues. Here's the first deck, here's the second deck, here's the third deck, here's the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. This is a wristwatch. Here's a key card. A vodka bottle. We got a dine message. We got Eliza's in.
Time for the game part.
No, no. This is just something I can do.
Hey, you gotta figure it out. Here's all the clues.
It's not all of them.
Most of them.
Lights in the captain. Oh, I already read this. Oh wow, it's so dark. It's the ghost curse. What the heck's going on, Jack? I have no idea. My control desk isn't even responding. Power is out all over the ship.
Dun dun.
Are we gonna make it to land now?
Nope.
Without any electricity, we won't be going anywhere. Is there any way to restore the ship's power? Maybe a backup generator? Yes, there is a backup generator. That's all we can really bet on at this point. It should be enough to get us back to land, but we'll need someone to go down to the engine room and turn it on. That means you, Cecilia. Understood. Cecilia salutes the captain and rushes to the door. The detective grabs Cecilia's arm, stopping her in her tracks. Hold up, you're still a suspect, Gilligan. You're still a suspect. Gilligan, tag along and watch her carefully. What? Why me? As I said, she's a suspect, so I just can't let her walk away. And I've already done enough running around for one day. Alright, let's go. Yeah. Why is she so happy about that? I think you'll need these. Blythe throws Cecilia a metal keyring toward her. She fumbles around trying to catch it, but it lands on the floor. Nice. She picks it up. My keys, where did you... Save it for later. You two better get to the engine running. Oh, okay, maybe it's better if Gilligan holds on to these. Sure, she hands me the keys, which I shove inside my pocket. Just don't take too long, and Gilligan make sure to keep an eye on her at all times. Right, we won't let you down. Ooh, another achievement. Oh, guess we'll do another chapter. Since we haven't even been on for 40 minutes. Cecilia and I entered the engine room. Her flashlight shines the only source of light, and even then it isn't very powerful. The inside of the ship looks far more intimidating than it seemed earlier, but I'm sure that the darkness played tricks on me. Alright, wait, since we interrogated everyone, has your story changed at all?
Nope.
Still the spooky mask gave the guy a heart attack that made him explode?
I'm hoping.
If it is, I'll give you $1. Wait, did I read that? Inside of the ship looks far more intimidating than it seemed earlier, but I'm sure that's just the darkness playing tricks on me. Cecilia appears to pay no mind, courageously leading the way. Maybe, that occult hobby giving her... What does that mean, Jackson?
You know I can't see it, right?
Yeah, you can.
There's a delay, remember?
I'm looking at it. I can watch it from the delay. Occult. O-C-C-U-L-T.
Mine is more delayed.
Yours is more delayed?
Yeah.
Where's yours at?
Let's see. Where I was talking about it being delayed.
Gosh dang it. It's right there on the screen. What does it mean, Jackson?
Which one are we looking at?
OCCULT.
No idea.
Gosh dang it, why didn't you just tell me to look it up? At least you didn't answer with sure.
Sure.
Definition. Supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, or phenomena of involving or relating to supernatural, mystical, or magical powers or phenomena. Not accomplished by readily discernible signs or symptoms, as in a disease. Cut off from the view of interposing something. So something related to the supernatural. That's what it means, Jackson.
Okay.
Courageously... Oh, I already read that. This way, please be careful. It'd be bad if something happened to you, too. You seem rather confident. That's really unlike you. What's that supposed to mean? I try to be confident whenever I can. My observation shouldn't have been a surprise to her, given what's happened the past 2 days between us. I guess it's in her airhead nature not to realize it, though. Haha, no, it's fine. I'm just making conversations so that this place isn't too scary. I wonder, Dilligan, are you afraid of the dark? Yeah, you never know what might be hiding in the darkness. It can be a little scary for me, too. Priscilla grabs my arm and drags me along with her. I was wondering, how can you be scared so easily if you're into paranormal stuff? Wouldn't you get used to it or something? No, you're thinking backward. It's scary because I know it's real. You can act all confident because to you, it doesn't exist. I see. Like when you believe in Santa Claus, you're afraid you'll end up on the naughty list and get cold for Christmas, but once you realize he's not real, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Spoiler for that Santa Claus is male. Sorry, Jackson.
Dang.
You're taking it pretty well. Just dang. It says Santa's not real. What am I gonna do this year? Maybe that was the wrong metaphor to use. The two of us continue walking, eventually reaching a fork in the path. Yes, Jackson, looking at this fork in the road. Hold on, let me let the delay catch up. There we go. You can see it now, right?
Yes.
Which way should we go?
Left.
Down this hall, good.
Right.
I bet Butler... How much do you know about him anyway? Go right?
No, go left because it's not right.
Shut up. We just met yesterday, actually. Can you bring up... Wait, I wasn't reading that. You two get along really well. Okay. It is kind of odd to entrust solving my father's death to a totally random stranger. If I had to comment on that, I'd say I got really lucky that a detective was even here in the first place. There should be plenty of time to get to know him once the ship docks. Until then, it's important to find the culprit before they can escape or kill anyone else. Butler said he was from the Lighthouse Chronicles. I haven't been here in California in so many years, but even that name rings a bell. Their catchphrase is shining truth's light onto darkness, a rather noble statement. Such a noble one. It's a highly respected newspaper that even people like me across the country are aware of it. The fact that Butler has been assigned to tour this ship for an article launching this insane murder mystery probably means I'll be gaining some publicity quite soon. Yeah, it's pointless to doubt. CEO murdered on ship's maiden voyage is quite the headline. I had only thought of his death on a more personal level, but I can't ignore what it will mean after this cruise is over. It will inevitably cause an uproar among the company's associates. Who knows what they'll be demanding. Of course, the honor of dealing with those people will soon belong to me. Such is the life of the wealthy, arguing amongst themselves first world problems that are a trifle compared to the rest of society. It's one reason I refuse to take my father's place as the CEO. I hate how petty the wealthy can get sometimes. It's as they say, money corrupts people. I couldn't imagine that kind of life. It must be nice being rich. I'm not sure about that. Money isn't everything. Better than having nothing, like me. Oh, well, now I feel bad. I guess that's true, but life never mind. That's okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, just good enough. Now that's something I couldn't imagine. Living just good enough sounds like living on hard mode. It isn't easy, but this job pays well enough, and if it works, it works. I'm curious why you decided to work here in the first place. The ghosts, I did some research on the internet. Lots of interesting stuff happened down here. Like people getting killed. Awa! That probably wasn't the best thing to say. No, I get it. Ghost stories are interesting, so that's why you came here. Right, but I hadn't found anything on this Cobalt couple story, so when Jack told us about it in this morning, I wanted Butler to get some more details on it. I was kind of selfish. You couldn't find anything about it on the internet? Now I'm surprised. Yeah, I don't believe it either. Anyway, here's the backup generator. Let me have a look. Cecilia shines the flashlight near a bunch of valves and switches. I won't be able to operate this thing even if it had a start button. You've got to be kidding me, it really has a start button. Hey Jackson.
What?
Did you know that every machine is a smoke machine if you work it wrong enough?
Sure.
I'm done with you.
Okay.
The main generator looks busted. It was also set to a dangerously high level, so no wonder. Good thing we have this backup. Yeah, guess we should press start. Go for it, Gilad. Oh, it's backwards again. If playing video games had prepared me for anything, this would be it. I take my finger and jam it into the button, because you have to be prepared when pressing a button. You don't want to, like, break your finger or anything.
Yeah, you know.
Like, if you press it too hard, your finger could bend backwards and you break it.
Yeah, what do you want tactic?
Yeah, or you could, not even press it. You press it too lightly, it doesn't press.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared. You have to be a skilled...
Maybe it explodes and you lose your arm.
Yeah, you have to be a skilled button presser where you don't even need your arm to do it.
Yeah, you need to use your mind.
Yeah. You see, Jackson and I have mastered the art of button pressing. Because if I've gotten anything from this game, it's been clicking, which is like the same as button pressing.
In a way.
Yeah, similar. At last, light fills the room. Yeah, it looks all familiar now that I can clearly see it. And even the sounds, engine noises, I get scared every time. Even when in something as mundane as a car, I'm like a frightened child the moment I hear the engines turn on. Do engines scare you, Jackson?
No. What about you?
Nope.
Are you sure?
Yep.
I don't know about that.
Shut up. I'm paranoid that it might happen again 10 years ago when my mother was killed. Oh, well, it's a decent reason. I've already explained that my father grew up poor. His family had absolutely no wealth. It was probably because of this that he decided to create his company. However, there was a time before he owned GG Inc. The company was only created 10 years ago, shortly after my mother's death. Contrary to my father, my mother came from a wealthy family. She practically had everything in life handed to her, so in some ways she reminds me of the person I've become. They had met in university while my father worked incredibly hard for several years after high school to be accepted. It was practically a free ride for my mother. Having both majored in business, the two saw each other quite often. While my father became the hardworking type, the kind who'd spend more time knee-deep in paperwork than anything else, my mother was the opposite. She would rather spend her time absorbed in housekeeping activities. During that time, my parents dated quite a bit, and they eloped together after graduating. It wasn't as if their lives were easy. My mother was disowned after she eloped, so it was up to the two of them to support themselves. Now that I think about it, my father once mentioned that Howard helped them out during this time. He offered them a place to stay, which I'm sure my parents were thankful for. Without his help back then, they would have been hopeless. It's the bird! In the engine room!
It was the bird all along.
Yeah! They had managed to secure enough money to settle down and raise a child. That child was me. We were what anyone would call a normal family, at least for the first 10 years of my life. After that, however, things started going downhill. Unfortunately, the picture of a happy family was merely an illusion. On the outside, everything just seemed fine, but secretly, everything was falling apart. It had been falling apart for a long time. I'm not sure if it was because I grew older and wiser, but it was becoming more obvious to me that my parents had each reached their breaking point. Each day would be filled with arguments. Every day I'd return to an unstable home, and though I tried to forget about it, such a thing just wasn't an option. I know my mother tried to shield me from the truth, and probably tried to shield herself from it, the horrible truth, that my father was an abusive husband. Knowing about my father's past, I can see how he became so violent. Becoming popular in high school for beating up the bad guys, he became a person who thought he could do no wrong. His physical strength eventually got to his head. If my mother didn't agree with him, he'd lash out at her. But oddly enough, he never lashed out at me. And so my mother's pain must have been unimaginable at the time. One day I decided to ask her for the truth. I was tired of holding on to the illusion of happiness. It's like Butler said, between truth and happiness, you can't have both. She hesitated, then she broke down crying. I'm sure it was too much to tell a 10-year-old child, but what was she supposed to do? Lie and say that everything was okay, or admit the horrible truth? On that day, my mother decided to move on. She knew that she could no longer hide the truth from me, so instead of lying, she accepted it and did the next best thing. Her plan was to escape her abusive environment, taking me with her to her parents' house. For the longest time, they had disowned her. They told her Gallivanna wasn't trustworthy, and she refused to listen. Deep inside, she knew she was wrong. She swallowed her pride and was willing to go back to her parents, but even with that said, the story doesn't have a happy ending. Two of us were in the car, and on the road to her parents' house. They lived a few hours away, so it was a long drive. Suddenly, while on the road, we heard some unusual noises in the car. Engine. My mother instantly panicked, and the car began to spin out of control. Oh, look at this fire. It looks so realistic. It's like the most realistic fire I've ever seen. It's like crazy. Look at that.
Oh.
Hey, it wasn't a sure response, so good with me.
Yeah, the fire.
I managed to survive. It was at the cost of my mother's life. Ooh, another picture of fire. I can tell they worked really hard on these. At the last minute, she protected me. Soon after, the authorities came, as well as my father. I was taken back home and continued to live with my father for the next 8 years. As I said, he never hurt me. In fact, after my mother's death, I noticed a change in his attitude. His dominant personality would often go silent. For the first time in my life, I'd see my father bait down into emotional state I thought I would never see. I'm sure the guilt from the incident was mentally tearing him apart ever since. Of course, I probably didn't help, but how else was I supposed to feel? After my mother's death, we packed our things and moved to New York. He said it was for his job, although I learned later that he'd started up his own company using the money gained from my mother's death, and that's why I hated it so much. Suddenly, a noise rings out of Cecila's pocket. After recovering from her startled jump, she takes out a walkie-talkie. Hello? Hey, Butler. Oh, okay. She hands me the device. Good work, Gilligan. Now here's what I want. Ah, yes, the classic walkie-talkie where you can see the person you're talking to. It's just a little fuzzy. Listen carefully, okay? Right, what is it? I just remembered there was something I wanted to check down there, that one room we found earlier. Do me a favor and look around. You think there's something inside? I can't be sure, however, we're at a loss for clues at the moment, and I don't want to go all the way down there to look for them myself. Also, on your way back up, I want you to bring Eliza, Howard, and Blythe with you to the captain's room. Less running around for me, you know? Got it. See you later. Dummy, that's not what you say with a walkie-talkie. Over and out. Aw, dang it, it's mixed up again. Wait, no, it's not. Yes, it is. No, I don't know. So what'd he say? We have to go in the boiler room. There's something he wants me to check. You mean that creepy door? Right? I want to see it too. Yeah, Butler had a suspicion about it earlier during the ghost tour, but then he was knocked out before he could do anything. Knocked out? Question mark, question mark?
Question mark?
Yeah. The lights flickered on and off a few times, and then I heard a crashing noise. When the lights came back, he was lying on the floor, bleeding. Yeah. Ah, the lights again? Doesn't that just scream ghosts, did it? I suppose ghosts are known to mess around with lights and electricity. You aren't going to blame them for the power outage, are you? Of course I am, ha 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 ha. Dot dot dot. Alright, what's in the boiler room, Jackson?
A rat.
I was gonna say a boiler. Let's not waste any more time that we have to please. We step onto the wooden platform, our footsteps echoing in the darkness. I have a pretty good memory, so if I'm not mistaken, the door should be this way. What's gonna be in the door? This is it, right? It looks old, so it might not be too difficult just to break open. What's in there, Jackson?
I don't know, you tell me.
I'm not very strong, so breaking down the door might not even work, but I have to try. Then I heard a sound of the door opening, and Cecilia turns to face me. Ah, you got it. Good work, Gilligan. Thanks. Right now I'm a little more scared than usual. I mean, I'm always afraid of the dark, and now we're going to the darkest room in the ship. But more importantly, I'm afraid whatever might be lurking inside. Cecilia's right. Even if I say I'm skeptical at my core, I'm as scared as if I'm not. I'm the kind of person who hopes for the best, but plans for the worst, you see? Regardless of any superstition, it might be possible that the true culprit is hiding down here. We haven't established that the culprit couldn't be a random stranger. In fact, I'd probably like that to be true. If the culprit was among the people I've gotten to know during these past 2 days, no, I don't want to think about it. Upon opening the door, I see a small room no bigger than my own room. However, the room is much worse. In the corner of the small room is a set of old torn-up furniture. It's in horrible condition. Spiderwebs and dust not only cover the furniture, but line the floor and walls just as much. At a glance, this place looks like an old storage area. The main question on mine is exactly why these things are stored here. There's even a queen-size mattress lying on the concrete floor. It's all grimy, definitely unsuitable for anyone to be sleeping in. Wow, this place is so creepy. Oh, I love it. Cecilia approaches an old wooden desk, shining her flashlight around in circles. She then goes to each one of the drawers, hoping to find something. What's this? Gilligan, take a look. She pulls out a photograph from one of the drawers. It shows two people holding each other. Turning it over, I can see something written on the back in faded red pen. Boon Cobalt shall pay. Whoa, that's a picture of those two doing here. Find anything else? There's also this. Cecilia picks up a stack of papers, shuffling through them. Let me see. I grabbed some of the yellow faded papers, searching for any clues. As Butler said, we don't really have any leads. I shouldn't use this opportunity to bring something of value back. Wait, what's this? GG Inc.'s logo is on one of these papers. Alarmed by what I've seen, I flipped through the papers so as to read them in order. This document is both my will and my confession. If you are reading this, then I am already dead. Thus, I have no more reason to hide the truth from you. My name is Jonathan Equinox, formerly a cruise ship captain, but my glory days are long over, and from beyond the grave, I am inclined to reveal my darkest secret. For if they torture me in life, they will do worse to me in death. I will say it bluntly, I killed Boone Tobolt, and I killed Helen as well, but it was not without reason, nor was it with intention. Allow me to explain what happened almost half a century ago. I must admit that I was jealous at the time. It was my prior motivator, although one could easily argue that it was lustful as well. For my wife Helen was an adulteress, and I had caught her in the act a considerable number of times without her knowing. On the night so long ago I decided to confront her. Being the captain, I had the keys to all the rooms at my disposal, so I used them to enter one of the guest rooms. I had gathered evidence to suggest that she was cheating on me with a wealthy individual by the name of Boone Tobolt. It was his room in which I confronted the woman, and she was ever so surprised to see that I had found her out. Boone was just as surprised, and in an emotional outburst, he proclaimed that his love for her was stronger. I was in no mood for games, however, and promptly aimed my revolver at the man's head. Fortunately, the one to take the 3 bullets I fired was Helen. She pushed him out of the way at the last moment, so I unintentionally became her killer. The man was such at a state of shock that I was easily able to shoot him down anyway, but at that point I was no longer in the name of love, lust, pride, or even jealousy, but instead simple regret. I then dumped the bodies in the ocean, hoping no one would ever find them again. I wanted to forget what had happened, and I wanted the world to forget it too. But for so long it haunted my mind that I cannot help but to tell the truth right now. No, wait. That incident was so frightening. I vowed to never operate that ship again to the public eye. I instantly shut everything down, and that was how I wanted everyone to see it, nothing more. Now I wish to pass down the ship, for I'm on the verge of death, and I cannot entrust to pure chance successor. Instead, shall name them here now the Ackerley Estate. They have been with my side for so long I can't help but to feel my involvement in the act of murder to be incredibly disgraceful. I wish to apologize and ask for forgiveness from you, my good friends. For similar purposes, I do not wish for my own family to know of my evil deeds. They already hate me as it stands, and I would not want them to inherit my shame and guilt, which I have had for so long. This is all I ask. The rest of my funds shall be given to my immediate family, but this dark secret shall stay away from them forever, and so the ship will not be passed down to them. Jonathan L. Equinox.
Dun dun.
Yep. The last few pages are all legal details concerning GG Inc. At the very bottom of the last is unmistakably my father's signature. However, just below the signature is a side note, also written in my father's handwriting, states that after a brief meeting with the deceased relatives, all assets of the deceased will go to the immediate family. In other words, it was a signed agreement that violated the old captain's will. Was this really my father's doing? I suppose at this point I shouldn't put it past him. Did you find something useful? I think so. I'll have to show this to Butler. There's definitely a connection. Just don't know what. That's for Butler to figure out. Right. That's all you're checking in that room? There's probably more. Alright. We're gonna stop it there at chapter 9. The Butlers. Actually, you know, it says the Butler solves it, so it might be the last one. What are you thinking, Jackson?
Sure.
Alright, we'll finish it up then. Upon returning to the captain's room, Cecile and I found the others standing right where we left them. Our trip to the engine room had taken a little under an hour, but it seems the others found new things to do in the meantime. Go fish! Butler and Blythe are sitting on the floor, appearing to be locked in a game of cards, while Howard tries to console Eliza once again. Meanwhile, Captain Jack and Donald are frantically mashing keys on the control system. It's no use, dang it. There's really nothing we can do. Oi, still not fixed. We turn on the backup generator. No, not that. The electricity is running fine, and the ship will definitely make it back to land. However, during that blackout, we lost data on the camera. Something went wrong and we can't get it back. Maybe the camera's broken. Yeah, good work, Jack. Now we're back to square one. Even if Butler couldn't solve the crime, we could always rely on the video. But now we can't. It's all gone. Was this the culprit's doing? Is it possible that they've killed again? What? Dad's dying message, SOS. It's just an interpretation, but considering the generator was sabotaged, the video as well, maybe the culprit intends to kill even more people. Don't worry about that. I've dispatched my... What? Well, I'm gonna say your story is wrong. Because Howard's in the room.
Okay.
If anyone else up there, they'll be the first to hear about it, and then notify me via headset. Those guys do look like they could handle it. There hasn't been any reports of another death yet, have there? As far as I know, none. The culprit doesn't have much time if they want to deal again. We're almost back on shore. Good to hear. Anyway, Gilligan, let's go outside for a moment. Butler stands up, pulling me aside so he can talk to me in private. Did you find anything in that room? Possibly. Take a look. I show him a photograph and the piece of paper. Oh boy, what do we have here? Oh boy. Is this a contract or something? That's definitely the logo of GG Inc. There's no mistaking it. It's kind of a long read, and I don't feel like looking it over. What am I supposed to... What? Am I supposed to summarize it for you or something? Be my guest. I do my best to explain the contents of the contract to Butler. Guess I shouldn't have expected any better from him. I see, so it's basically a confession from Jack's grandfather, and a connection between him and your father's company. Should we ask him about it? That's a horrible idea. He's got something he wants to keep hidden. Why should we bring it up to his face? Ah, well, I don't know. You're a horrible detective, that's why I'm in charge of these things. Am I at least a good Watson? Yes, I'll give you that. You find clues and bring them to me like a good assistant. But I tell you more of a Hasling than a Watson. Haslings? Wait, what? Wait, but I mean, what? You don't know that guy? No. I really... Do you know Haslings?
No.
I know Watson. Do you know Watson? Do you know Watson?
Sure.
Gosh dang it, Jackson! Shortly after, Butler and I returned to the room. It seems as though nothing important has happened. What was that all about? Nothing. We're still at the loss for real evidence. That's no good. We'll just have to rely on police after all. But what else can they do? Of all the people here on the cruise ship, what could they do to find the killer? You mean the cruise is over, right? Yeah. What'll happen once the police find out the bad guy already went into hiding? I mean, that's what any sensible culprit would do. 2. Being unable to pinpoint the killer right now means that they'll inevitably get away, but if there are no clues, it can't be helped. Without evidence, we can't get anywhere, and then the culprit will get away. Anyway, I've been waiting for Gilligan to get back so I could bring this up. I overheard Eliza saying something about the company meeting held late last night. Oh, that's right, you and Gilligan weren't there. I suppose that means you've been missing a lot of the picture then. Wait, so are they saying that they might get off the ship? Jackson?
I don't know.
Because if that's what they're talking about, can't they just lock down the ship so no one gets off?
I guess.
Tell me everything. I can't believe the three of you held something this important back from us. I don't even know why he called the whole group. We partied for a while, but then fun and games ended rather abruptly. So this was a serious meeting, huh? Yeah, since Gilligan talked to him about it last night, he wanted to address it right away. The secession of the company. Because of me? What did he say? He said he trusted me, and for that reason, I said should be the next CEO. Even when we voiced our objections, he didn't listen. I don't get why he picked her. The only one objecting was you, right, Howard? I would still say that was a hasty decision on Gallivanto's part, but who am I to tell him otherwise? If anyone could have gotten through to him, it'd have been you. Hey, calm down. Anything else happen, or was that it? Fortunately, nothing else. Seriously, why do you keep acting like he made a mistake? Because I think he did. Come on, he says it's because he trusted you, but I think we all know the real reason. When Gallivanto went missing, Eliza constantly claimed he was worried how she was about him, and when he was found dead, she was the most upset other than myself. In fact, she entered such a rage that she was willing to accuse me of killing my own father. Even ignoring Eliza's reaction to Gallivanto's death, she always seemed unusually cheerful around him. Anyone could have guessed that they were good friends at the very least. I don't see anything wrong with what he said. All I'm suggesting is that he trusted you a little too much. We live in a world where altruism is rare to come by, considering my father was just murdered and he owned a lot of assets prior to his death. It would have been strange at all for a greedy employee to have killed him. Eliza could have emotionally manipulated him into showing a weakness, and the moment he died, she took advantage of that opening and killed him. I did no such thing. I tried my best to support him when he needed me. That's all. I just got caught up in everything, and Eliza falls to her knees, sobbing through her hands. Gallivanto was the one who approached me. It isn't my fault because I tried my best to save him. What's not your fault? What are you talking about? His death? Yes, I tried so hard to save him because he came to me and asked for help. When I first started working there, I was just like any of his other moments. Why he bit me, I still don't know. But he did. He'd always give me more attention than my coworkers, inviting me out to lunch or giving me extra breaks each day. I thought he was a nice enough guy, so I complied, but he wanted help. He didn't know how to offer it. He wanted to escape the cold, black void of loneliness and isolation that buried him years ago. He carried too many feelings of guilt and regret on his shoulders, if he had only done something different back then, taken another choice. But it's not like you get do-overs in life. And so he told me about his loss of hope. He told me about you, Gilligan, and how he felt so bad about ruining what was once a perfect family. He didn't know what to do because you had built up a wall of resentment against him. He wanted to see his wife again and apologize to her, but he knew that wasn't possible. What else was he supposed to do but come crawling to someone for help? For whatever reason, I sympathized with him. He was charismatic, brilliant, and wealthy. What else could I have asked for? But he carried his past with him. I could see it hurting him every day. So I took upon myself to make him happy. Each day, I told him to look at what an amazing job he's been doing with the company, and that one day he'd be able to pass it on to his son. And when that happens, they could be reunited again. He'd probably look forward to that day. And that day should have been today. Instead, things went wrong, and he was killed. Wait, what? So that's why he was so proud of it. It was hard to describe how terrible I feel right now. He wanted us to get over our problems and live happily again. He thought GG Inc. was the solution. He was so scared when the company was going downhill, he really didn't know what he would do. So the company's near-death experience shook my father, quite a bit. When he talked about it at the meeting last night, he said it gave him a realization, and it made him want to change, but now he's Eliza. I'll say this, I have a hunch, but I need more information. Yeah? Like what? I'll be needing all of your alibis again, but this time for last night, and don't leave any detail. Don't leave out any details. Got it? Ooh, we get to do this again. Which one, Jackson?
One.
Alright, who you think the murderer is? Let's see. Well, I didn't do much yesterday afternoon. I had a good look around the ship, finally decided to sit down in the lounge and read my book. When it was time for us to meet, I returned to the hallway and saw Blythe and Eliza in conversation. Gilligan soon met up with us, and we all ate dinner. It was really good. Anyway, I decided to go to the bar where Gallivanto found me. We had a couple drinks together, he talked to me for a bit, and I suggested we have some fun as a group, so we rounded up the others. We went to the game room for a few hours, and then he bought some things at the gift shop afterwards. Unfortunately, the pocket watch I bought fell, and I accidentally stepped on it during the meeting. Next.
7.
Next.
5.
Done. Well, in the earlier parts of the day, I was busy preparing the dining hall for its grand reopening. I was also busy in the kitchen preparing your dinner, making sure we all had the ingredients before departing, and so on. When the time finally came, I served Gallivando's group their dinner. Oh, I also happened to serve Butler, who said he was doing a review for the maiden voyage. Naturally, I asked him to give a review on the food, and he couldn't resist. Anyway, the dinner itself went smoothly. I remained in the dining hall from maybe 6 to 10 p.m. We don't really keep it open late. That's what the bar is for. Oh ho 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 ho. Once the restaurant closed down, I made sure everything was put away and the area cleaned up, so probably around 10:30, I went to the captain's room and turned in my set of keys. I'm getting too old to stay up so late, so I went to my room on the first deck, locked the door from the inside, and went to sleep before 11. That way I did enough rest for the next day. Next.
3.
Blythe, 3-fight professional. After unpacking my things, I stayed in my room for an hour or so. Then I walked around the ship and found the game room, where I spent most of my time until dinner. I returned to the 5th deck's hallway to meet up with the others. After dinner, I was feeling a bit tired, so I went back to my room and watched some television. Around 9:30, Gallivanto knocked on my door, and we all departed to the game room, at my suggestion. I think we had a fun time, but you're probably not interested in hearing that. We then decided to check out the gift shop. It turns out they had a super rare deck, and I instantly bought it. Who thought the cruise ship had such good taste? They probably had your famous goldfish guppy deck. What else would they have? My lame shark deck?
Yeah.
It was cheap. That's all I could afford. Jackson just dropped its stats on, like, his deck is worth like $200. Mine's like 5. So, yeah. Last but not least, Gallivanto gathered us in Eliza's room to tell us she'd become the net CEO. Howard and I left. I think Gallivanto stayed a bit longer, and I went directly back to my room to sleep. Who's next? There's 2, 4, and 6.
6.
Cecilia. Right. Well, I was on cleaning duty in the afternoon. I just went around to all the rooms on the 5th deck and cleaned them, just as I did today, finishing up around 3:30. I continued working at the bar until 8, when I took a quick break to eat. Then I quickly cleaned all the rooms that were empty. I could tell by the signs on their door. Sadly, I can't remember which rooms I cleaned. I don't think I cleaned Gilligan's room, though. I went back to the bar and worked there until 2 a.m. That's when the bar closes, after all. I think I remember seeing Gallivanto there a lot yesterday, but he seemed to be in a bad mood. I didn't say anything and instead went to the captain's room to turn in my key. Of course, I didn't have my key ring, so I was scolded by the captain. As you know, he lent me his key ring, so around 2:30 I guess I went to sleep. 2 or 4? 2 or 4?
2.
Eliza. Okay, after we settled into our rooms yesterday afternoon, I went to the bar with Gallivanto. We had some drinks and walked around the ship. Eventually it was time for dinner. Gallivanto told me to wait with the others in the hallway. That's when Gilligan met with us and we all went to dinner. After that I decided to go to the sauna for a few hours. I returned to my room at all around 9:30. Gallivanto knocked on my door. He said he wanted to talk to all of us. Blythe and Howard came with us to the game room where we had some fun playing games. There was also some slot machines and other gambling games. I'm no good at those, so I didn't play. After that, our crowd went to the gift shop. Gallivanto bought me this really cute stuffed alpaca. I really liked it. Finally, we all went inside my room to discuss the company meeting. It was just before midnight, I think. Once we finished the meeting, the 3 left and I went to bed. Alright, now Jack. I was in the captain's room most of the day. Around 5 p.m. Gallivanto showed up in my office. We had a friendly chat and then went to the 5th deck to gather the others. I showed them all to the VIP section of the dining hall, and I believe Donald took over from there. As for myself, I patrolled around the decks for a while to ensure everything was going. Wait a second. Wait a second. Were you listening to me as I was reading these?
No.
Gosh, dang it. Dang it, Jackson. Well, Blythe, did you hear some of it, like you were listening but not listening?
Sure.
Blythe was talking about how the meeting, like, you know how they had that meeting?
No.
You don't even, this meeting, the night before?
Sure.
Whatever. Everything was going alright. Around 9 p.m. I returned to my room. I determined that nothing was out of place during my patrol. But as a cautionary procedure, I asked my guard to continue looking out for anything suspicious. As I previously mentioned, employees are required to return their keys to the captain's room before sleeping. I had actually gone to sleep myself in my personal bedroom, but I was woken up by a knock on the door. Cecilia had confessed that she had lost her keyring, and I was quite irritated at her for it. So as you know, I gave her my personal keyring and the elevator key as a replacement. I then went back to sleep. Well, that's that. Please solve it. I think. Are you still standing by your story?
Yeah.
Butler, you've had some fun for some time now, but it's getting late. Unless you figured something out, I suggest we all turn in for the night and let the police handle things tomorrow. What do you mean? This isn't over. I'm almost there. Then tell me right now, what happened to Mr. Golder? If you can't answer that, then it's proof you've just been wasting all of your time. Is that really the case? I can't. I hadn't seen Butler like this before. He's sweating, nervously shaking, unable to accept that he still hasn't solved anything. It's Eliza. My money's on Eliza. He might be no, Eliza or Donald. It's one of those two. But when it comes to real crime solving, there's aren't just so confident. In real life, there was no guarantee that the case is solvable, or that enough evidence was left behind after all. That's right, if this were a conventional detective story, he would surely have deduced the answer by now. If this were a conventional detective story, he'd confidently proclaim the answer out loud for everyone to hear. However, this person, the one and only Detective Butler, isn't a conventional detective. I can't believe the answer is so simple. What? You know who did it? Simple. How can that be? There is really enough evidence to solve it? Evidence? We hadn't found anything new. So, did we really have the answer all along? Maybe I can check all the clues one more time. I flip open my journal. Yeah, this come in handy. I'd written down a list of all the clues so far. The contract, the photo, the key rings. However, Butler found in the room. Everything Butler found in the rooms. My father's dying message. We still haven't made any sense of it, but it's the one clue he left behind. The one clue which might lead to something, but I can't figure it out. That's right, we all have the evidence we need. Are you ready to hear the truth? Are you ready, Jackson? Don't you dare freaking say sure.
Sure.
Go ahead, I'm ready. Here's what happened, Jackson. Firstly, remember the note Galliano left this morning for you, Gilligan? Gilligan, I'm sorry that I haven't been listening to you. I'll go talk to the company members about it. Be back by 2. That note, I found it in my room in the morning. I took it with me just to be safe. You know that saying, even a broken clock is twice... even a broken clock is right twice a day. Get it now? I'm totally lost. Are you calling me a broken clock or something? No, take a look at the note again. I snatched the note from his hands and read it again myself. Right, it's directed at me, my father's apologies. Then he says he'll go talk to the company, be back by... Wait, are you really saying that? Bingo. There's a chance he meant to say 2 a.m. instead of 2 p.m. Wait, what does that mean? Why would he write a note saying that? Yes, indeed. Why would Galliano pick 2 Why not 12 to take Diligent to lunch, or 6 to meet him for dinner? It's because Galavano meant 2 a.m., the same time the bar closes every night. In other words, since the note says he wanted to talk to you all, he was killed after the meeting that took place last night and before the bar closed at 2. However, now that we know what happened after the meeting, I can prove I know who killed him, but first I'll have to remind you all of 2 things. First, when we checked the security system earlier and looked at the timestamps, did you all notice Galvano hadn't used the door once today? It was all Cecilia. So one could easily assume that Galvano entered his room last night before the clock struck midnight, wouldn't they? Now, according to Howard's alibi, once the meeting ended, he and Blythe left the room together. Galvano stayed behind for a bit, that right? Yes, those 2 did leave for him. Right, so what does that mean? Second, Howard also purchased a pocket watch at the gift shop. He claims it was broken during the meeting, which means it must have been midnight. That's what the clock reads. The moment he broke the watch, Galvano hadn't gone back to his room, and had Galvano opened the door afterwards after midnight, it would have been locked by security. Because we never saw that lock, we know Galvano never returned to his room, and the reason why is because he was murdered before he had a chance. Can you really say that for sure? Just to be safe. Can we really eliminate the possibility that Howard lied about when the watch was broken? As I said earlier, even a broken clock is right twice a day. If it wasn't broken at midnight, then the only other chance would be at noon. But that time, he should have been with Eliza for lunch. He showed me the watch just before noon. Its hands had already stopped before then. So what? Howard could have simply set the time on the watch whenever he wanted, and then conveniently smashed it after. There's no way to tell. And for what reason would Howard destroy a pocket watch he just bought to frame someone for murder he didn't know about? This is confusing. Are you understanding this?
Sure.
You don't. And you're still not off the hook, Captain Jack. You see, this document that Gilligan found in the basement, it's your grandfather's will, so I'm well aware of what's going on between you and old MacDonald over there. What? That's all made up. There's nothing going on. His will? I've never seen it before. But what that's to do with me? The ship was supposed to go to your family, but Jack claimed it for himself instead, breaching the contract. He should have told you about it, but I wonder what he said instead. Jack, you said the ship was rightfully yours. You said, so I believed you. It's because of the truth behind the incident 50 years ago. They weren't killed in an elevator at all. His grandfather killed them, himself. Exactly, and that's just what I was about to mention. Jack was aware of those deaths, and used it to set up a nice ghost story. The elevator was never haunted, but Galvano died there. Jack had to cover it up somehow. So you're saying I tried to cover up Golder's death? Why would I go to so much trouble? It's absolutely ludicrous. You have a lot to lose if the media found out about the contract. If they found out Galvano died on your ship, they eventually dig deep enough to uncover your own scandal, and considering he's a famous CEO, that's highly likely. Even with that kind of reasoning, you can't prove it. Ron, there's one way to prove it, and it's through the reconstruction of the closed room. It wasn't me. I didn't do anything with that key. Same here. As I said, I never got a chance to see it. Exactly. What we have here is a liar's paradox. Just think about it a bit. You mean a liar's pair of ducks? If Donald was lying, then how did he get the key into the room? Surely this old man, who can't even walk properly without a cane, couldn't have possibly used the balcony door, nor could he steal the only key from Cecilia's pocket. And if Cecilia is lying, then she had no motive to let Gilligan into his room, or place the key at all. For that matter, all the key does is incriminate her. No sane person would place it there. Well, I'm not entirely sure she's sane either. Hey! In conclusion, they're both telling the truth, which means we need a third option, and that is where Captain Jack comes into play. If Cecilia never lost the key, and Donald never had the key, then it's only logical that Cecilia never had the key either. In other words, Captain Jack fed us all one big lie. No wonder he wanted to wait until the police showed up. He wanted to frame the maid for murder. Does that mean he's the killer? No, just an accomplice. After all, Jack has no motive to kill. His only motive is to cover up the murder, because he had something he wanted to hide, the contract. After the murder took place that night, he found out and locked the elevator. He thought of all the ways to conceal the crime and decided to frame Cecilia. That's all. I'll say it now. The culprit, Blythe. It's Blythe. We're all wrong, Jackson. Huh?
Was I?
It was Blythe.
Sure about that?
That's what Butler says. Well, but I told you I have an alibi for the time of the murder. I went right back to my room. Then what about this receipt I found? I see, because the time was 12:07 and they both left the room before midnight, which we know thanks to Howard's pocket watch. Not just that, but she left a bit out of her testimony. Are you sure you went directly back to your room last night? The receipt says you ordered some vodka from Cecilia at the bar. That sound more like it? Oh, right, I told you I felt sick this morning. What's wrong with getting some vodka real quick before going back to your room and drinking it all? I simply forgot. That's all, nothing unusual. What's wrong with buying vodka, you asked? It's a murder weapon, for one thing. It's what? We found lots of glass near the corpse, and from the wounds, it looks like he died from a blunt force trauma. It probably isn't much of a stretch to think it was a glass bottle, you think. I mean, it could have been anything, right? And just because I got drink doesn't mean anything happened. Actually, I remember now. Galliano showed up at the bar so many times yesterday, but I remember now that I saw him with Blythe after midnight. And I didn't actually see if Blythe went into her room or not. Our rooms are in opposite directions, so I wouldn't have known any better. It all makes sense now, but to think that he'd been dead the whole time. You're all lying. You're just bluffing to pin it on me. Galliano stayed behind. You didn't. Instead, you went to the bar, and that's where Galliano also went. Apparently, then you murdered him in the elevator. Jack found out, and you two decided to frame the poor barmaid. That's one big accusation. You recklessly assert that we're behind it all, but you still have yet to solve the closed room. If Cecilia didn't place the key, then who did and how? It's impossible for anyone but her. Easy. Blythe did. Both Jack and Blythe are left. Oh. When you all found the key, or rather when Blythe herself found the key, she didn't really find it. She had it the whole time, given to her by Jack. Get it now? There's no other way for this closed room to work. That's just mindless theorizing. To place this final nail in the coffin, that dying message that appeared to look like SOS. No, I didn't know. It was meant to read as 505, which is Blythe's room number. So it was a shortcut to finding the culprit's name. I should have thought about it a lot more. Case closed. Good game. Case closed, GG. I think it's about time you two come clean now, don't you? I'm curious, which one of you attacked me during the ghost tour? Afraid I haven't investigated elevator, find the corpse too soon and reach the truth? Looks like I did anyways. Jack, tell him he's wrong. It's not true. Journal updated? What did my journal update? Oh, Blythe, the number, room number thing. That's what updated. Let me just click on all of these. There we go. Jack, it's not true. No, oh, frick. You caught us. Everything happened exactly as you said. Why are you siding with him? Because I'm not a murderer. I merely had something I wanted to hide. But now that it's been exposed, I have no reason to go along with that plan. It's still a crime. Obstructing the murder from being solved. Hi, Dustin.
Can I watch your live stream, please?
What?
Can I watch your stream?
Yeah?
Can you give me the link?
Just go on the channel.
Okay.
Can you not? Clearly it wasn't. You solved it just fine, right? It's a little convenient that the video evidence was destroyed, wasn't it? you wanted Cecilia to get the blame, but she isn't the killer. It wasn't the butler, it was this person, Dustin. This one. Her. Not him. Her. You wanted Cecilia to get the blame, but she isn't the killer. Neither Blythe nor I planned on Golder's death. We each had a common goal. It wasn't planned? That's right, it wasn't planned. Blythe collapses on the floor shortly after. Two of Jack's men approach her, lifting her up by her arms. Tie her up. There's some rope in the basement, and keep her locked up so that she won't be able to run away or hurt anyone else. Wait, I didn't mean to. It's not my fault. Then please explain it. Tell us the truth. Every last detail. Boom, solved. There's another chapter. Gosh dang it. I said we'd finish it up, so we're finishing up. Let me first say that I never wanted to... In case your title says it was the... Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about. That has quotation marks. See that? No, how cliche, right? But it's true, I believe that we're all murderers at heart. Only the unlikely ones chosen by fate. I'm gonna finish it up right now. I'm finishing it now, Dustin. So I'm simply unlikely. No what? When you reach that base, it becomes easy to forget your humanity or any sense of compassion of others. Just refresh the page, Dustin. You'll see. In truth, I reached the point long ago. It was only a matter of time before I acted upon those instincts. Perhaps that's why I had no passions, no goals, no dreams. I was content working enough to pay the bills, and that was that. Some might say there was something wrong in my head. I don't know if that's true. I know that I often don't get along with people, nor do I think as most people would. Anyway, I distress again. All I can say for sure is that I wanted something, and I felt I had no choice to earn it through hard work. Why do I stream them? It's doodle, not YouTube stream emojis. I don't know. What about this one? That one's decent. I graduated with a bachelor's in applied mathematics. Somehow I excelled at this subject, and I heard it was good money. So I told myself, why not? Why do all doodles? So I told myself, why not? Afterward, I landed several nice jobs until I found myself working for GG. My employers always praised me for being intelligent and dedicated to my craft. When I found out I was going to be working for such a wealthy company, Galvano Godo, the man everyone looked up to, yet at the same time feared. Yes, everyone, at least in my department. Of course, back then, the only boss I had to worry about was a previous CFO, but even she was afraid of Galvano. After a few years of working, I was unexpectedly promoted to the position of CFO. I wondered what had transpired between Galvano and my boss. She was a really nice woman, so it was surprising to hear that she was fired. I spoke with her in person at the local bar. I loved going out to drink, and she explained how it happened. A new recruit named Eliza had just been promoted to CCO. Though she was absolutely terrible at her job, I wondered exactly how she could have gotten it to such a high rank. Then my former boss told me she's a manipulator and exploiter and just charming enough to make you forget that's who she is. Galvano needed that kind of person in his life more than anyone. I asked my boss how she knew. Apparently Galvano had been having some breakdowns at work, and his personal life was no secret. He wouldn't stop talking about his deceased wife. He never said anything about Gilligan, not until recently. I can only wonder what changed him. No, I know, Eliza did. I saw it for myself once. I began working in my father's boss's place. The reason I had succeeded her was because I was dedicated to my job, and I stood out among all other employees. I don't get distracted easily, and instead I focus on the small details. Eliza and I worked together quite often, and I was able to get a nice look into her psyche quite easily. She was one of those girls who acts nice, but can't stand when women show her up, and that was my problem. It's not my fault that I'm dedicated and know how business works. I mean, that's why I went to school. I didn't graduate to become someone who acts like an idiot, expecting people to forgive me each time they make an amateur mistake. No, my goal was to become someone respectable, someone people could look up to and say, what a smart person she is. Well, I guess it's too late for that now. After all, you caught me. I was honored to be invited on this trip. I really was, but behind the scenes we all suspected Galvano was going to say something important, because he kept talking more and more about Gilligan and less about his wife. I saved the company from bankruptcy. I'm the CFO. That's my duty. The one who invested in plans that made no sense, that was Eliza, and she blamed everything on me. But I wasn't alone. Howard understood my problem, and he understood Galvano's problem as well. He's really good at them, I'll admit. Truly an honorable friend. I'm really happy to have met him. Deep inside me, the one I hated was Eliza, but the only one who could silence or punish her, Galvano, was on her side, and so my anger was directed toward him instead. No, I didn't set up an elaborate scheme to kill him. It was all an accident, an intentional accident where just the right circumstances led to his death. It was almost midnight, and the first meeting of the cruise. Galvano had